Now there's a new splash, huh? God doesn't provide lack. Anyone here ever, and you don't have to raise your hands, anyone here ever have any concern about money? Am I in the right room? So the board and I had a conversation, and we're leading up to our community meeting on August 11th. And they said, and it's rare that they request of me or ask me, about speaking into something. And they said, so we think we'd like to have you do a series on prosperity. Oh, I can talk about money. And then I remembered everything I've ever been taught in unity, that prosperity is not about money. But I will guarantee you that that word will come up in this conversation over the course of the next 4 weeks. I will guarantee you that I will say some things that will make me uncomfortable and probably make you uncomfortable. Because I usually do anyway, whether it's about money or not. Anyone ever had thoughts that I'm seeking a life more abundant and prosperous? I'm sorry. Did anybody here ever have a thought about seeking a life that is more abundant and prosperous?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is interactive, you guys know me. So you mean you're not sitting around thinking, man, I don't want to be more abundant, I don't want to be more prosperous. Take that away. I don't mean that. So in this series that we're starting of Prosperity Plus, which is what came to me, and I said, what the heck is the plus part? I don't know yet, we'll see. We're all going to find out together. We'll be drawing from the books Prosperity, written by Charles Fillmore. And I will lovingly refer to Charles as Chuck every so often, just so you know. We will also be drawing from the book by Eric Butterworth, Spiritual Economics. And I will be referring to him lovingly as EB every so often. I don't know when I got in the habit. It's probably about the same time I started calling Unity Village the mothership. And they still love me, and they still say that's okay. So is this just another minister wanting to talk about money? Is this just another minister about, okay, yeah, prosperity is not about money? Is this just another one of those series? Because there's a million of them. Trust me, I researched every one of them. This conversation, Prosperity Plus, is about getting to the right understanding of money. Getting to the right understanding of what we mean by abundance and prosperity. This is not the first time you've heard a Unity minister or many others talk about prosperity and abundance and a full life. It just isn't the first time. And I am sure you're going to hear a lot of the same things. Well, we'll see what happens when I open my mouth and start talking. This is a prop for those of you who don't know me, because God has something to say about this to this community. And I volunteered for that to move through. And I am realizing in my research and in my study, this is a tough conversation for me. In fact, it's a lot tougher than I let on to the board that it was. Me, the girl that is working 2 part-time jobs and a part-time ministry job. Me, the girl that thinks I just need 1 more hour in that 24 hours. Now, I'm not whining. I'm not. I love every moment. I love everything that I'm doing. And I can honestly say that there have been times in my life that wasn't true. But I love everything that I'm doing. But I'm going to give a series on prosperity? Really? And I think that's where the plus comes in. I think that I'm being invited into a new level of understanding of these concepts that I've studied for 30 years. And my prayer in this series is that some of you find a way to come along with that or educate me into something I need to know. Because I am willing to hear it. Maybe not right here, maybe after service, but I'm willing to hear it. Because I am realizing I have a lot to learn. I come from hard-working people. And the only way you ever get ahead and you ever do anything is you work hard. I mean hard. And you break a sweat and you knock yourself out. And then you go home at night and you say, I'm going to get up and do it again. And sometimes there is a little undertone of, and I'm going to resent every moment of it. Especially when our feet hurt, especially when our backs are tired, especially when there's just so many things on that to-do list. That's where I come from. But that doesn't mean that's all I am. And I invite you into your stories around money. I invite you into your stories about prosperity and abundance. I invite you into looking at what you have attached to. And I'm not saying it's not something good. It might be really something awesome. But if you noticed that you have not easily moved to that place of abundance and that full life that you know you've been affirming, that you know you've been holding on to, that you know you want to get there, and you just haven't gotten there yet, I invite you into looking at all those stories around money that you might have, and about abundance, and about prosperity. And this community as a whole is being invited into that same conversation. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and ask you to pledge money to me. If you want to, that's okay. But that's not what this is about. Money and the conversation about abundance and full lives is a conversation about consciousness. Now, there's another newsflash. Eric Butterworth, in his book, Spiritual Economics, shared a research study that was done at the University of Michigan, for those of you who are Michigan fans. And this is what they found out, because what this study was about is they wanted to know what effects money has on people. And this is what they found out. First, the number one thing that people worry about the most is money. The number one thing that people believe make them the happiest is money. And the number one thing that make people the most unhappy is money. And none of us want to talk about it. I love being human. So what we're talking about is, check this out, since we're going to talk about talking. Anybody ever have that experience or have that acknowledgement about this energy that we call money? Mine only says goodbye. We affirm this. I go forward with an attitude of hopefulness and I tap into divine ideas easily. Say this with me. I go forward with an attitude of hopefulness and I tap into divine ideas easily. So let's talk about that a little bit. The actual literal meaning of the word affluence is, believe it or not, abundant flow. Abundant flow. Continuously centered in the universal flow, we experience inner direction and the unfoldment of creative activity. Yes, Eric tells us, things will come, stuff will show up, but it is the consciousness that attracts the things. Now, I could just stop right there. And the truth is, you've heard what we need to hear about abundance and affluence today. It starts in our consciousness, which is exactly what we know as we have studied these principles. And for those of us who are new to these principles, when was the last time that anything started anywhere but in your mind? When was the last time anything that started in your life started anywhere but in your mind? The good, the bad, and the ugly. It starts with a thought. And then we attach a feeling, and pretty soon we've turned it into a belief system. Now, sometimes that's good news, and sometimes belief systems are exactly that, BS. And you have, I am just surmising some of those about money. And you have some of those about your abundant life and about what you have the power to manifest. And it started right here when I heard, what did you do today, Penny? At the end of the day as I was being tucked in. And that didn't mean, what did you enjoy today? Who did you play with today? That meant, what did you produce today, Penny? And they were doing the best they could do in the moment they were doing it. And that thought became a belief system for me. And I have to consciously say, okay, God, I know that's not you wanting to know that, because you saw everything I did today. But it is a belief system that has guided my consciousness around abundance. Not to mention that little thought about, am I enough? Did I do enough? Can I get enough done? And that's just my story. What is yours? What is that little thought when you lay your precious little heads on your pillow? What is that thought that you have that moves you away from knowing that you are one with the abundance of the universe? That affluence is abundant flow, not abundant go, Penny. It's abundant flow. Remember, the definition of consciousness is the fact of awareness by the mind itself. Can you that's like saying, watch your head. Right? Oh, watch your head. Consciousness is that. It's watching your own head. Yeah. Sometimes I love what I'm seeing. Other times, I really should have gone to a different show. How about you? Do you have those moments in your day, in your week, in your month, in your life? And do those experiences then start to be the story that you tell about abundance and affluence? What story is this ministry telling about its abundance and its affluence? Because you know what? This ministry is the collective story of each and every one of us that are sitting in this room. I'm going to invite you into a thought right now. As spiritual beings, we are amazing expressions of God. As spiritual beings, we are amazing expressions of God. We don't have to go looking for this, folks. It is an abundant flow. We're wallowing around in it. It's like the fish saying, where's the water? It's like saying, God, I'm so thirsty, I'm so thirsty, I'm so thirsty. And God says, turn the faucet on. Turn the faucet on to your consciousness of abundance. So the theory here is that you won't have to worry about money or things, because with a consciousness of abundance and recognizing that there is an abundant flow, which doesn't always mean you got your toe in it. It doesn't always mean that you dove in head first. But that doesn't mean that there isn't an abundant flow. There is this abundant flow that is happening. So the theory here is that you don't need to worry about that. Because let me ask you something. Has that helped? I'm just asking. Has that been really productive for you? Because if it has, I want to know what that level of worry is so that I can use it. Because the one I'm using ain't working. It hasn't gotten me one more thing that I need, want, or desire, except a lot of worry. And this right here, right? This little wrinkle, which has become a crater. Yes, and that means even money. So Eric tells us this. It is the consciousness that attracts things. The quality, now check this out, the quality, the strength, and the nature of your consciousness. That's a lot of responsibility. The quality, the strength, and the nature of your consciousness. And this isn't just about money. This is about relationship. This is about employment. This is about peace. This is about connecting with your neighbor. The quality of your consciousness, the strength of your consciousness, the nature of your consciousness. It is in this that we have the opportunity to up the game for an abundant, full, amazing life. And we are ever in the abundant flow, but we may be holding our breath. We may not have our swimmies on and willing to dive in. It doesn't mean it's not there. How many people here have grandchildren? Are they in the room? We'd hear them, wouldn't we? Are they in the room? Does that mean that they're not here? That's exactly where they're at, Alma. They're right here. How many people have people that they love that aren't sitting in this room? Yeah, I do. And I love almost everybody. I actually love everybody in the room, I believe. I do. It doesn't mean that they're not there. I am in that complete connection all the time because I hold them in my heart. They are in the abundant flow of who I am. They are the fabric. They are part of the fabric of who I am. And so is the abundant flow. This isn't any different. This isn't a new concept. This isn't science. Well, actually, it is kind of science. Because the truth is that you change that abundant flow by the thoughts that you hold. Turn the faucet on. You want to talk about grandchildren? Somebody will whip out their phone and show you they've got pictures. You want to talk about people you love? You want to talk about a project that you worked on and you feel really good about? It's right there with you, as is the abundant flow. It's right here. Nobody's hiding it. Consciousness, spiritual, God, prosperity consciousness, it's all consciousness. Perhaps the first thing we should get is a bucket full of consciousness. Not a bucket full of dollars. I wouldn't turn one down. But what if we just held a bucket full of abundant, just absolute, complete abundance? What if we did that? Eric tells us, and so does Chuck, the stuff will follow the consciousness. That is the good news when the good stuff shows up. And it really stinks when the not so good stuff shows up. Because we just don't get to have it both ways. The good news, when we are holding that God consciousness of abundant flow, the stuff will show up. Now, I love that song, Thank God for Unanswered Prayer, because there's been a lot of things I asked for that I certainly should not have had. And I am grateful to God that I didn't get them. The abundant flow comes with an intelligence and a knowing, as do you. And when we align that consciousness and those thoughts, we get the power of manifesting into reality hard, cold cash, if that's the deal. We get the opportunity to manifest that into reality. Deeper relationships, more fulfilling professions, more connection with the people we love, a greater impact on the world outside. We get that opportunity. Have you ever had a moment in your life that you felt that? Have you ever had a moment in your life when you knew you were standing right in it? I am so aligned with God right now. I am so aligned with God right now. I so get that I am one with this abundant flow. And it is right here, right now, and it is coming at me 100 miles an hour. And I've got my catcher's mitts on, and I am ready to take it. I'm ready to catch it. I am ready to receive it. Have you ever had that moment in your life? Yeah. That feels pretty darn good, doesn't it? Isn't that a fun place to be? I say we get some more of that. I say that we keep inviting ourselves into a higher consciousness where that abundant flow is so present for us that we can't say no. What thought am I holding that influences my affluence? What thought am I holding that influences the abundant flow in my life? Got one? Does it serve you? Does it move you to a greater expression of who you're called to be? Does it support the people, the places, and the organizations that you love, that feed your soul? What thought are you holding that influences your affluence? Some days I really like the one that I'm holding, and I can affirm, I expect good and I experience it. Say it with me. I expect good and I experience it. Our prayer team took that on as its mantra, and it is amazing to see the amount of answered prayer in this little community. Our prayer team took that on as an out loud consciousness, and it is amazing to see the number of people that feel safe and supported and ask for prayer. I expect good and I experience it. Down to my toes, I experience it. All through my life and manifesting and expressing in every way, I experience it. And it is through consciousness that I do that. The word prosperity, the actual origin of the word prosperity means forward, hopefully. That was news to me after all these years of study. Forward, hopefully, is what prosperity means. And so we affirm again, I go forward with an attitude of hopefulness, and I tap into divine ideas easily. God doesn't give us money. God doesn't write checks. God is not an ATM. Sorry. Sorry. Wish I could tell you something different. God gives us the divine ideas. In this community, we are teeming with divine ideas, and they are waiting to be expressed. In your life, divine ideas are in that abundant flow all the time. Put your toe in the water, turn the faucet on, they're right there. God doesn't write checks, which is really good because I wouldn't know where to deposit them. God gives us divine thought and divine guidance and divine ideas, and it is ours to be ready to receive them so that we can express them into the world, and it may be hard, cold cash. It may be, and it may not be, but it is that divine idea that will take you to that next level of expression. And my friends, that is abundance. That is abundance. That is prosperity. That is the abundant flow that we are living in. This is really going to be a fun series. Now I'm really getting into it. I mean, this is kind of fun now. I didn't come in this room with a great level of comfort to say, money. I didn't come in this room with the great comfort of saying, we need to put our divine ideas together and we want to move forward and all those things. knowing that we could have this conversation at this level. And now I know. I turned the faucet on. And so have you. God does not give us things. God gives us the essence of all that is and everything that is behind an idea. And that is the divine thought. It is in the back of things. It is the rich ideas. And it's ours to choose to open to that abundant flow. So we go forward with hopefulness. My friends, we're sitting on a gold mine. Namaste.